Welcome to the Night Watch Show, Fake News Edition. Today we will talk about fake news, not the real fake news, but the fake news. Fake news is a term that is really being overused at this point, showing up everywhere: magazines, newspapers, television, radio, social media, posts, replies, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Everywhere I look, I see the term fake news. And usually, when fake news is used, it's simply the word fake news. This is fake news. That's fake news, with no explanation, no evidence, no documentation. It's simply used as a phrase to say it's fake. But please keep in mind, the term fake news is truly being overused at this point. Fake news doesn't mean anything you hear that you don't agree with is fake. It means information that is actually factually false. This show is dedicated to all of the fake news naysayers and doomsday practitioners around the globe that have adopted the habit of calling anything that doesn't fit into their worldview fake news. We're not talking about the true fake news, such as when the news reports false information. That is fake news. It is being used as a casual term regarding any general disagreement on a personal level with anything that anyone else is saying or doing. Even used as a casual term between friends on an informal level, which is fine. One friend says, "The new restaurant around the corner is great." The other friend says, "Fake news, I've been there and it's horrible." Fake news, fake news. Well, in that case, informally, a joke between friends is okay, of course. But when we are talking about what's right or wrong, about life or death, about serious global issues, including the serious global pandemic known as COVID-19, coronavirus, please, people of the world, try not to place anything you disagree with in this category of fake news. And especially, please try not to make threats such as the government and the social media outlets will close all of your accounts and ban you for life and put you in jail, because that's fake news. Simply because your mind can't fathom the chance that the mainstream media isn't being totally transparent or accurate or even honest, and that you can't imagine there's even a chance that you could be under a false impression, doesn't mean that it's fake news. And you can't possibly believe, referencing a recent broadcast where a lot of people said fake news, when we simply found a hospital all set up and equipped to handle COVID-19 patients, with doctors waiting around literally with no patients lined up, with no wait, with no queue, with an empty parking lot, and with nobody to screen. An empty hospital ready for patients, as has been reported in other locations throughout the world. Really, we've had many reports of hospitals with big capacity, with no lines, and yet the news continues to broadcast hospitals with hour-long waits and lines going around the street, and just these big holding queues that will take hours to even get into the doors where you would be screened. And yet we find reports from others and see videos from others of hospitals with no wait whatsoever. So if you can't possibly believe that there could be a hospital anywhere in the world during this crisis that's ready for patients with nothing to do and no lines, if you can't believe that, and you simply have to defer to calling it fake news, really, I think you need to look at yourself and consider the fact that perhaps you should spend some time on research, on investigation. If you can't go somewhere and look personally due to current restrictions, which is completely understandable, if you have access to the internet, look online, find what people are saying, instead of immediately labeling something that you can't fathom or understand as fake simply because you don't believe it fits into your worldview. Please don't hide behind fake news, and please don't quote acts and laws and seek to imprison and censor people, labeling them as fake news sayers, when it's simply a matter of you not agreeing with something without having any proof or idea about the validity of your false claim. Don't be a purveyor of fake news. That is when you are essentially calling true news fake news, and you are then a fake newser. That is quite an easy claim to hide behind. Anything you don't like is fake news without any evidence, documents, or research to back up your claims that the information being shared is fake. You simply shoot it down under the fake news category. I think from now on, when someone says fake news on any place I might see, on any show, on any channel, anywhere, I'm going to reply fake news. If you accuse, you should provide facts, not just throw the phrase out on serious topics as if somehow you know everything because the news that you're watching said it's so, or because your neighbor told you it's so. Obviously, in your mind, you're believing it's not possible that there's a hospital somewhere in the world all set up for COVID-19 patients with no patients to see. If you can't believe that that's even possible, that must mean that when watching the news or listening to whoever's telling you information, you never think twice about it and just assume that anything you hear or see on TV must be true. Please keep in mind that not all of us are sitting around listening to the news and assuming everything we are told is true and fully accurate. And I'm not necessarily saying that any of the news medias are lying, but they are a business. Bad news sells. Pictures of puppies and kittens and cookies does not. Of course, the news is going to broadcast the hospitals that are overrun and overloaded and understaffed and undersupplied and long lines outside and hours to get in. Bad news sells. Of course, they're not going to spend time at hospitals with no lines, no queues, ready to service COVID-19 patients, even on a drive-up basis. They're not going to broadcast that because it simply doesn't sell. People lose interest and watch Netflix or read a book or surf the web or visit their social media sites and so forth. They're not going to stay focused on the news and watch the commercials that generate revenue for that media outlet. If the news only showed crammed hospitals full of patients and long lines, does that mean that there is not another hospital 10 miles or 10 kilometers away with no lines and few patients and nothing to do? If the news broadcasts that there is an earthquake in a far off country in a major city, does that mean that the entire country is affected by the earthquake? If the news broadcasts that there is a riot somewhere far off in another country, does that mean the entire country is under a state of riot? I think we need to think deeper than that and realize that just because we see an image or a video on the news, that doesn't mean that that is everywhere. This is perhaps a case of lying by omission, since really the news should have the obligation to be fair and balanced and to show us there are locations ready to serve patients. But I watch the news all the time personally, and I haven't heard any of them saying there are no hospitals anywhere with zero wait and fully ready to see you. They have not said that there is no such thing as a hospital ready to service COVID-19 patients. They have simply outlined the hospitals that are overrun, the frontliners that are truly overworked, truly under-equipped, which is absolutely the case in many, many places, which is a travesty and which is absolutely horrible. But I don't believe the news is saying that there is not a hospital somewhere in a hot zone ready to service patients that is well equipped, that is ready to service the community's needs. They just show the long, endless line of overpacked hospitals, but they are not truly saying they're all full. But many of you assume that since they're only showing overfull hospitals, you immediately assume that if someone broadcasts information finding a hospital with no queue, fully equipped, ready to serve, you assume that that's fake news, and that puts you in the fake news club, throwing stones blindly with no supporting evidence or research. Bad news sells, good news does not. That's a fact. Just always remember that. Pictures of puppies does not sell. Pictures of tragedy, unfortunately, in the news, that's where they make their money. So please don't assume that what you see on the news is the complete picture of everything. Of course, it's a slice of reality. It's showing you something that's happening somewhere. It does not mean that that's happening everywhere, always, all the time. So please don't call any observation statement that doesn't match what your favorite news channel or station broadcasts fake news. Fake news. That's illegal. You'll be banned forever. You'll be imprisoned. That makes you a fake news stone thrower, spreading falsehoods by casting doubt without evidence on anything you don't agree with, making people think that by you saying fake news, it's untrue, and possibly steering people away from what's real to a false assumption. For example, let's say that someone does have symptoms of COVID-19. They want to go to the hospital. They watch the news. They see that the wait is around the block. They see it will take hours and hours to even get seen. They see that they'll be packed in with other patients in line, which seems quite dangerous, not proper social distancing. They're concerned, so they just don't go to the hospital. Isn't it helpful if they realize that some hospitals are ready and waiting with no queue, no line, and you could be in and out with the screening in 20 minutes or less? By you saying fake news, you're essentially providing fake news, making people think there is no such hospital, when in fact, as I've seen with my own eyes, as have others, there are such hospitals. It seems there are troll farms filled with people who just post fake news on all broadcasts everywhere. I'm seeing them show up on the biggest shows, the smallest shows. I'm not sure if they're bots, real people, troll farm workers, not really sure, but it's quite useless and non-productive in my opinion. And unfortunately, some people probably believe if there is a fake news comment, the broadcast must be fake because someone said it is. We all need to learn to think, to learn, and not to simply assume. The fake news posters truly, the attempt that they make surprises me. It undermines the freedom of speech, the free flow of information and observation. It's an attempt to censor, to restrict. It's as if you're living in a country such as North Korea, in which if you say anything the dictator doesn't agree with, you're simply silenced. And if that's the case, be strong enough as a person not to become an advocate for that dictator's position. Listen instead, observe, and make your own opinions. But to call out anybody who says anything that contradicts what mainstream media is presenting and simply call it fake news because it doesn't match what you've seen on your favorite local news channel or national news channel, I find it quite ridiculous. Attacking the messenger and claiming anything you don't like or agree with is fake news is even more concerning, and it's threatening in a sense that you're trying to prevent people from providing observations and insights and automatically labeling them as false. It's a weak position to come from, and I don't truly understand how people have the time to surf social media and to simply label everything that they don't agree with fake, 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 fake. So please, people of the world, see, listen, watch with an open mind. Make sure to listen. Don't try to censor the messenger. You don't have to agree with everything you hear. And if you can't handle it, if you can't handle hearing opinions other than your own, it's better to stick with your favorite news channel and believe everything you're told and just censor yourself from the world rather than attempting to censor others. Please don't sit around and throw stones just because someone or something you hear doesn't fit into your personal understanding of how you want things to be. For example, many people really want to believe the pandemic has destroyed life as we know it. That's that the world is coming to an end, that every hospital is full, that everyone is sick and dying, that this is the end. So many people have bought into that. They're watching the news nonstop. They're watching the positive cases and the deaths increase, and they're feeling as though really the world is ending. And anyone that provides a glimmer of hope, such as there's a hospital that's available, ready to see you when you have symptoms, that has no line, and you have to shoot that down as false news because you just can't handle the possibility that maybe things aren't as bad as the news makes them out to be. It's just truly tragic. And that puts you into the fake news stone thrower group. You may not realize this, we've talked about this in the past, but mosquitoes kill more people every year than the coronavirus will kill in its lifetime due to Zika, dengue, yellow fever, malaria, etc. They claim the lives of up to millions of people every year according to the World Health Organization, the WHO. Thousands of people die every day from mosquito bites. And COVID-19 has killed 158,000 people as of the time of this broadcast, which is absolutely a tragedy. And we're not questioning how tragic and awful and horrible it is in any way, because it truly is. And in the same time, though, please keep in mind, mosquitoes have actually killed more people. In most countries, the curve is either flattened as far as COVID-19 infections, or it's getting close to the point of flattening. And in many, it's already begun to drop. Things are stabilizing and improving. Meanwhile, mosquitoes continue to kill thousands of people every day, and it's not even on the news. There's no efforts to stop it. And I'm sure I'll have many people say it's fake news about mosquitoes. Please research it first. I previously quoted a journalist whose name was kept confidential due to concerns for his safety. In fact, a journalist from the Philippines. That was in episode 8, I believe. He had to delete his post after posting it out of reasons for his own security, but after that he posted again. And I want to read you what he had to say about fake news. This is a veteran journalist who's desperately trying to fight for frontline workers. Here is his statement. I'm sorry, and I have to delete my previous post because it would compromise the safety of our frontliners. Again, I will bring back the information that came from them and continue to stand by them. To those who are saying fake news, I repeat, it's not my credibility on the line, but the lives of frontliners who asked me to help uncover the truth, the stories, their experiences, their daily struggles. It's sad, but it's easy to hide behind the term fake news. Open your eyes. And I can only ask, as the leader and neighbor of that hospital, when was the last time you went to the blank hospital? I'll admit that, to talk to the frontliners here. If this is fake news, why would almost all governments act immediately to cover up what has been exposed? Now everyone is working to clean up the mess. Again, thanks to the huge amount of cadaver bags for burying COVID-19 victims properly. It is a bitter fact that until death, you are just alone. So let's stay home, put on a mask, wash our hands, exercise, and eat healthy foods. Hashtag stay safe. Hashtag stay home. Lord, take care of us. That was the statement from the well-known journalist who had to keep deleting his posts due to many threats he received and just an outpouring of fake news, fake news, fake news. The fake news stone throwers. So in any case, I wanted to discuss that with you today. And I'm sure after this posting, we'll have many comments that say fake news, but I hope that everybody will please reflect on that. And if you are going to say fake news, please at least do some research, provide some facts. It's so easy to simply shoot down anything and everything you don't agree with. It's much harder to actually type some terms into Google or onto YouTube or your favorite social media outlet, or actually go somewhere and look with your own eyes and find out what the truth is. But those that call things fake news without really knowing that it's fake news are really purveyors of fake news, which I find to be quite damaging to society as a whole. Thank you very much for joining the Night Watch show. We wish you all health and safety. Until next time, best wishes to all of you.